We are live on Facebook right now, so I'm going to get the show started. So the first thing that we're going to hear is fantastic music from Roger Davidson. So take it away, Roger. Thank you so much, Roger Davidson. That was just fantastic. We will be talking more a little bit later, but I just want to welcome everyone to CDNY Live. My name is Cynthia Shaw, and I'll be hosting tonight's event. As I said, you've just heard our featured guest, pianist and composer Roger Davidson, play 3 original introductory English country dance tunes called Ale and Wine, Beltane Fire, and May the Dance Begin. So that was just such a fantastic way to start the show. So Roger, thank you so much. We will hear more from Roger as the show progresses, and Roger will talk about his composing and his new book that he's working on. So stay tuned for that. The book, in fact, the name of the book is called To England and the Celtic Lands, Music for Dancing and Celebration. So the book will be published very soon, full of all sorts of new tunes that Roger has written. So we're excited to hear more of these original tunes. In addition to Roger tonight, dancer Marty Fager is our featured chef in the Messy Kitchen, and Marty will teach us all how to cook chicken and onions. So get your pads and pencils out, ready to write down everything that Marty does, so you too can make chicken with onions. And then we will have a surprise visit from the online piano teacher, Dr. Ivory Von Tickle, your perceptive piano teacher. So stay tuned. Now, CDNY-Live is sponsored by Country Dance New York and performs on the second and fourth Thursdays of every month. You can find the schedule on the CDNY calendar at cdny.org, where you can also make a contribution in support of this program and the many other programs offered by CDNY. CDNY has been very, very busy throughout this past year and a couple of months, putting on programs, supporting musicians, supporting dance parties, doing all sorts of wonderful things to keep the music alive. So I encourage you to go to that website and to check out making a donation. Now, during the show, you will be muted. We are live streaming the show on Facebook, where it will also be archived. And in addition, CDNY now has its own YouTube page. So our show tonight is on the CDNY YouTube page in a playlist called CDNY-Live. If you're on Zoom and you're having any trouble with the platform, please put something in the chat box and someone will help you. Speaking of the chat box, which is located in the lower center of the Zoom screen, feel free to comment there during the show. You can comment as much as you want and just say all sorts of things. It's very, very fun. And if you see someone's name there who you haven't seen for a long time, why don't you send them a private chat? There's nothing more lovely than being on Zoom and having somebody write you directly, so you can write and say hello. All right, now for the fun stuff. What did you all do on May Day, Saturday, May 1st? Did you dance around the maypole in the park? Did you stay at home and clean your apartment? Why does everybody write in the chat what you did on May Day so that we can all enjoy sharing all of these, what we did with each other? All right, now I would like to invite one of our producers and fellow dancers, Annie Eden, to teach us a song. Now, even though we'll all be muted, you can join in loud and lustily. So Annie will take it away with Sparky the Giant Squid.
Unmute. How are you all today? So Sparky the Giant Squid is a really wonderful song, and it has some hand gestures in the chorus. I encourage you to, unfortunately, mute yourself, but you will learn the chorus quickly. It's very easy. And put everybody on gallery view. There we go. So we can see all those lovely faces and hopefully the hand gestures. So I remember when I was a kid, we had a really awesome pet. They were a tiny little squid in a bowl beside the TV set. They were very cute. Their name was Sparky, and they had a really awesome soul. But they grew a bit more every day. Soon we had to get a bigger bowl, and they ate big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish all day long. Big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish all day long. With a great big slurping sound, waving all their tentacles around. Now that they had room to swim and play, Sparky liked their bigger bowl, I think, but they grew a bit more every day. Soon we had to put them in the sink. They were very helpful, I must say. and they always gave the dishes a good scrub. But they grew a bit more every day. Soon we had to put them in the tub, and they ate big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish all day long. Big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish all day long, with a great big slurping sound, waving all their tentacles around. They were very helpful, like I said, and they even folded all the towels for us. They tidied up the bathroom cupboard, and they never made a fuss. But when we had guests, they couldn't wash their hands. They'd moan and groan and all of that malarkey. They'd say, "There's a giant squid in your bathroom." We'd say, "Oh, for heaven's sakes, it's only Sparky." And they ate big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish all day long. Big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish all day long, with a great big slurping sound, waving all their tentacles around. But we knew that it was time to set them free. We put them in the ocean with a sigh. They swam away quite happily, waving one tentacle goodbye. They met another squid and fell in love. Their underwater wedding was spectacular. They had 80 little babies, very cute and very well tentacular. And they ate big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish all day long. Big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish all day long, with a great big slurping sound, waving all their tentacles around.
Oh, Annie, that was so delightful. Thank you, thank you.
My pleasure.
Now we all know the tale of little Sparky and his beautiful life in the bowl and the fish tank and the bathtub, and then finally in the ocean finding true love. So thank you so much, Annie. All right, so now it is time for our featured performer, Roger Davidson. And I'd like to read you, Roger sent a bio, and he's such an accomplished person and pianist and human being that I just want to read this to you because I just think it's so beautiful. Roger Davidson is a composer and a pianist, and with long experience in many different styles of music. He was born in France in 1952 and grew up in the United States, France, with a French mother and an American father. He went to school in England, Switzerland, and Thailand, as well as the US. And so he accumulated an extensive international experience as a young man through his travels, his education. And so this brought him great empathy for various cultures in the world of music, and taught him that all human beings are fundamentally interconnected. He experienced many forms of dance around the world, but his book that he's working on right now is mostly focusing on the British Isles and surrounding islands. So he has degrees in German and Asian studies and composition and all sorts of things. So he's a very learned person. He is also a minister. So Roger, why don't you, I'm gonna get the floor to you, and you can talk about your music and talk about the songs that the tunes that you're gonna play, and take it away.
Okay. You left out the most important part of my bio, is that my wife is also a minister, and we live in the New York area together, and she's as accomplished as I am. As a matter of fact, she's my principal advisor, along with my country dance friends, on my book, because she has such a beautiful ear and an amazing spirit that I run by tunes, all the time, and she's always right about picking the right spirit and anything. So just wanted to add that in. Anyway,
Fantastic.
So going on from here, my book is an accumulation of work over many years, but particularly over the past 3 years, I would say, in 2 or 3 years, and it consists of folk dances from around the British Isles, starting with English country dance, Irish dances, Scottish dances, and then of course including in English dances, Morris dancing, and within the Scottish dance section, which is smaller than the English one because I'm newer to that, there are many Strathspeys. So anyway, a big variety of music, and it will be, the draft is almost finished, and it will be out sometime this year. So look out for it. We'll be making announcements. And that's basically it for the book. I'd love to play a few tunes for you if it's a good time.
It's an absolutely perfect time. Yes, absolutely.
So this is the English country dance section of this evening, or one of them anyway. Starting with a tune called "A Stroll in Mayfair." Stroll in Mayfair. Elegant part of London, as you all know. One thing about my book is that it also features many beautiful geographical places in England and Scotland and Ireland and in the surrounding islands of the British Isles. So I have tunes for almost every region and every famous and not so famous place in that book. Going on, here's a hornpipe called Autumn Friday. Many of you know that the hornpipe tradition in the 17th century is actually not the fast reel type of tune that we know now, but it was in 3/2, stately, elegant, and also moves along pretty quickly. You know, there are many great hornpipes, as you know. This is Autumn Friday. Thank you. That was Autumn Friday. Going on to another English country dance in 2 called Sunday in Lincolnshire. Thank you, thank you. And to finish this set, another hornpipe called The Queen's Elegance, dedicated, of course, to Queen Elizabeth. Thank you all.
Oh, bravo, Roger. That was just so wonderful. Wow, that
Thank
was
you.
really fantastic. You'll see if you look at the chat as you were playing, people were just so admiring the elegance of your pieces, the beauty of them, the danceability, the Jean commented on your runaway cadences. So
God bless you, Jean.
yes, so that was really fantastic. So I want to ask you, because we talked about this a little bit, about, you said during the pandemic, one of the things that you did was to write a whole bunch of tunes, even though you had started this like 30 years ago. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Certainly. Well, backing up a little bit, my parents passed away a few years ago in 2014, and I found myself sometime after that getting the idea of resuming writing English country dances and others, because it was actually my mother, who inspired me with this music, and my dad inspired me with the love of British culture and the British Isles in general as well. But in 1960 or so, my mother started a school in New York City, and one of the first things she did was to invite May Gadd and Phil Merrill to teach country dances, English country dances, Morris dances, sword dances, and they had maypoles every May too. So we learned a lot as a kid, and I grew up with that, and then I kept playing and playing most of my life, and dancing as well, on and off, depending on where I was. So that's what it started. That started the whole thing a long time ago. So spinning back to 2020, I wasn't performing like most performing musicians, so I decided to work on expanding my book of English country dances. It is not that I set out to have as many as I ended up with, I just find this music and form of dance so inspiring that I just kept going and going. And
how many did you end up with?
600 altogether.
My gosh, there's a lot of dances that need to be taught.
Correct.
Need to be written for
Correct.
600 tunes. It's so fantastic.
A combination of English country dances, jigs, reels, rants, hornpipes, Morris dances, and Scottish dances. But it isn't just me alone. My wife was always encouraging me to do this, and she responded to every tune that I got right. Fortunately, I got most of them right, and then sometimes I always asked her. Her name is Nicelia, by the way. She's from Brazil. We've been married 7 years. She's the jewel of my life, and she inspires me every day. So
congratulations.
Without her, this conversation wouldn't be happening. Anyway, so I find myself working almost every day of 2020 during the pandemic, almost exclusively on this book. And that's almost all I did as far as a musical project. And I'm grateful to have had the participation of Gene Murrow, as well as Paul Ross, as my advisors along the way, as well as my wife. And so they've been amazing. And so that's the process that happened, but it's because I had more time to sit down and write. It was an opportunity. So
right. Well, I think that's so fantastic. No, I think that's fantastic that you took what could have been a very down, dark time and used it to create such beauty. And I'm sure that once the floodgates start opening up, all of these tunes just started coming out, and it was really beautiful. There's a question, when do you think the book will be published, and how would people find out about it? Or
okay,
yeah,
that's a good question. It will be published as soon as all the final little edits are done, and I get into format and do all the page numbers and all that usual thing.
Right.
Get the right printer, and then of course I'm going to tell CDSS about it, and hopefully they will carry it, and any of my friends in the country dance community will help promote it. But that's important. But I'm also aiming to promote it in the British Isles itself as well, because a lot of the titles are about geographical place names and that in the British Isles, and a lot of titles. Didn't have time to include all the tunes in this segment, of course, but a lot of the titles are also about plants and nature and the inspiration from that. So many things.
So wonderful. Well, I think I can't even begin to imagine that CDSS would not jump at the chance of having this book and of tunes, and also for dance callers and dance writers. This is a wonderful resource for them for creativity and to create, tons of new dances. So I think this is just all very exciting. And I think that you've really created something beautiful. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to move on a little bit right now, but because we'll hear you play some more tunes a little bit later on. But thank you so much. All right. So now, I'm sorry.
I said, God bless you all. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
So now it is time for us to introduce Marty Fager in the Messy Kitchen. So let's see what Marty Fager is up in the Messy Kitchen with his chicken and onions. So take it away, Galen. Anyway, I'm sorry, Marty. So hopefully Galen can get the videos up and running. So why don't you tell us about your cooking chicken and onions, and maybe you can just describe for everybody the starting things that you were doing.
Well, this is a very quick and easy dish that I cook a lot. Chicken thighs, skinless, boneless chicken thighs are very quick and easy to cook, and they're tasty and yummy. And as I mentioned in the video, nice thing about thighs is they're kind of moist, oily moist, and they're very forgiving. If you overcook them, they're still tender and tasty. Whereas if you overcook, say, a chicken breast, it turns to cardboard.
Yes.
So, and through all my cooking and eating everything, I figured out that there's a basic seasoning combination sort of common to all Asian cuisines, like from India all the way through Japan and Thailand, everywhere in between, which is basically combining garlic and ginger. It makes a great base. And when you combine the two, you get something that's better than both of them, better than some of the parts, as they say. And so I would just take chicken thighs, salt them, cover them with granulated garlic, not garlic powder, granulated garlic. It works better. And then cover them with powdered ginger. Do both sides. Really lay on the garlic and ginger. And usually I take an onion, slice it thin, throw it in the pan, very high temperature, then throw in the chicken thighs right away until they brown, really brown on one side, nice golden crispy brown. That's the onion and garlic, the ground garlic and the ginger cooking until they caramelize and their flavors come out really good. Then I turn them, brown the other side. And at some point, I will take the onions and cover the thighs with the onions so the onions don't get burnt. Sometimes a little messy. And then once I brown both sides, I turn the heat down, let them finish cooking so that the thickest part of the thighs will get done. And a variation I often do, and if I'm really in a hurry, I'll just skip the onions, just coat the chicken thighs and brown them, and But variation that I do, which I think works a little better, slightly less messy, is to saute the onions first, all by themselves, until they're nice and brown. Then take them out, put them in a pan, in a plate. Then brown the chicken, as mentioned, until it's really brown and well on both sides. And then when you turn the heat down and to finish cooking, then you can make nice and neat little piles of onions on top of each of the thighs. And it comes out much better, I think, although it takes longer because you're cooking the onions separately. But it's not terribly long, and it's really yummy.
It's hard for me actually to imagine ginger and garlic with onions. So that's an interesting twist. I don't imagine those flavors coming together.
When you saute the onions until they're brown, all the heat goes out of them. They're very sweet. And they go just fine with this dish. They really do.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like, I'm glad you're describing this. It looks like Jeff Barry is going to be able to play your video.
Yeah, okay, let me give it a try and we'll see how it goes.
Okay, all right. Everybody, fingers crossed, all right?
Okay, hi, this is Marty. I'll be your chef for tonight. I'm going to show you a dish I cook a lot. It's quick and easy. It's sort of my Asian influence chicken thighs. You can brown them in a pan, or they also taste good if you grill them on a grill. My favorite detail is to saute some onions and then, throw the chicken thighs in with the onions, cook them all together.
Okay, sounds good.
The flavors go great together. Every Asian cuisine you can think of, from Indian to Japanese and everything in between, Thai, Chinese, whatever, one of their basic spice combinations is garlic and ginger. And garlic and ginger together, they are more than the sum of their parts. I use the skinless, boneless chicken thighs, which I love. They're quick and easy to cook, and they're very forgiving because they're so moist with oiliness that if you slightly overcook them, they're still tender and fine. Whereas if you say slightly overcook a chicken breast, it turns to cardboard. The quick version is I apply salt and then garlic granules. Not garlic powder, garlic granules, granulated garlic, it works better, and ginger. Then I quickly cook them under high heat to brown one side, get a little crusty. The garlic and ginger will get a little crusty, a little caramelized, then turn them over to the other side. Then turn the heat down, maybe cover them to let them finish cooking under milder conditions. Take my chicken thighs, salt. I salt them. Excuse me. Then garlic, granulated garlic, not garlic powder, granulated garlic, or garlic granules, as they say here. Granulated garlic, it's sort of like just ground up and dried garlic, I think. You can see it's actually granules, it's a little coarse, So the garlic powder is very fine, and apply it liberally, and I mean liberally. Coat those chicken thighs. Take your ground ginger, and again, very generously pile it on.
Okay. Wow, that was really fantastic. I can hardly wait to try that. I would never think of putting so much garlic and so much ginger and so much salt. So we'll have to see more. See more later what happens after this. So thank you, Marty, for the first part of our cooking, our messy kitchen. Now I would like to, now we have a message from our sponsor, Oompa, the Order of Musical Professionals and Heroes. So take it away, Oompa. Video is very challenging tonight. Here we go. That was adorable. So for those of you who don't know, Dominique Gagne, one of our producers and great flute player, she has a little cat named Luna. And so Luna recently had surgery, I guess. And so she had to wear the cone of shame. So could thank Dominique for that fantastic video highlighting Luna's progress. Just so, so neat. So thank you, Dominique, and thank you, Luna. I'd like to take this moment to remind everyone that they can make a donation directly to CDNY to support this show, as well as other CDNY music and dance programs. The link will be put in the chat, so if you can give generously and often, that would be most appreciated. So now we have one more video, and hopefully this one will work out, that we won't have issues with video stuff. So this video is of Dr. Ivory von Tickle, who is an online piano teacher. So take it away, Dr. Ivory von Tickle.
Can somebody tell me when they see things?
Nothing's happening.
But we see the
hands on
the
piano.
We
Great,
see Dr.
okay.
von Tickle's hands, yes.
But nothing's
Great.
moving.
Hello, students. My name is Dr. Ivory von Tickle, the perceptive piano teacher. Today, our lesson is called Keeping the Fingers in Shape. Oh, I'm so excited about this lesson. All right, let's invite our first student up for this lesson. The name is the Sage Master. Hello, Sage.
I am the Sage Master.
Sage Master.
The Sage Master.
Yes, the Sage Master. Okay, let's get started.
Okay, I await your instructions.
Ja. Yes, and we all know it is very important to keep our fingers in shape.
Ah, keep the fingers in shape.
Ja, and we do it like this. Okay, the Sage Master. Now, sit down at your piano and you try it.
This is how I keep my fingers in shape. 1,
Okay, the stage master, I don't know what you're doing.
Fine. 6.
Stage master, where is your piano? No. Where is your piano? What are you doing?
Strong fingers of the must, yes?
This is totally unacceptable.
I am the Sage Master,
You are not a superhero.
and I know where you live.
What is going on? This is Dr. Ivory von Tico signing off. Goodbye, Sage Master. Thank you for being our guest today, our piano student. He knows where I live. He knows where I live. How do I turn this off? How do I turn it off? What? I don't understand. How do I turn it off? This is...
Okay. Even though it's terrible to laugh at your own work, it still cracks me up. So I just want to tell everybody, I hope you liked that. I hope you liked Dr. Ivory von Tickle. For about the past year, I've had this idea of creating some sort of online something or other, and I wanted to create a character that was a slightly wacky piano teacher. And so rather than thinking about it, I finally decided just to do it. And so I wrote this script, and I've been taking kickboxing. So I asked one of my instructors if he would do this with me, and it was fantastic. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy Dr. Ivory von Tickle. There's another script already written for the next episode of this doctor. So we'll see what happens later on. So anyway, thank you all for watching that. It's time for Marty to do a little more cooking for us. So Marty, are you, Galen, are we okay with the second cooking video?
I hope so.
Okay. Fingers crossed, everybody.
We're gonna put the share up, and we're gonna wait about 15 seconds, and then we're gonna start.
All right, excellent.
High heat. We're going to cook. Let's start cooking these things fast. A non-stick pan is probably preferable if you have it. This one's non-stick, but not completely non-stick. So you can have whatever you like, but I don't mind. Push them out to the edges. And then all right, in you go. Cook, baby, cook. And make sure you got room for all of them. So I can just do a quick seasoning while they're browning. Okay, salt, garlic. And then pile it on. Make your favorite garlic. Garlic is your friend. Keeps the werewolves away, the vampires, whatever. Even better, keeps germs and viruses away. Right now, sort of flipping the onions around to make sure they don't scorch on one side. Now, this chicken, how you doing? Are you browning it? Oh, you're nice and brown. Look at that. Nice and crispy brown. That's what you want. But garlic and ginger is cooking, it's caramelizing, the flavors are mixing and melding, yum yum.
Wow, Marty, that looks fantastic. I can hardly wait to see the final, and I think everybody thinks that even they could make this recipe, so I think it's a win-win. Now, I just want to tell a couple of things. Marty sent me some things about himself. Now, many of us know Marty as a wonderful dancer and as a caller and a dance writer, but he has some really interesting things. First of all, Marty has 10 siblings, 10. So just take that in. And then the second thing is that in the 70s, he lived for a while on a hippie commune farm in the Ozarks called the Dragon Wagon Farm, started by, write this down, Crescent Dragon Wagon and her husband, Crispin Dragon Wagon. So Marty, I would love for you just to say something about that, because that is just so wildly fascinating. How was that?
It was an experience. I was basically there for the summer of 1970, and that was long enough to know that, it was back to the city for me. But it was a tremendous experience. It's almost like being in a foreign country. It really was. We were in the Ozark foothills in deep southern Missouri. 8 or 9 people all together, farming, and interesting. Some of the people were very, what you might refer to as cultural hippies, and some were political hippies. Some were both. So we had some early version of political correctness going on, among other things. It was all quite an experience. And also,
And why did you do that? Why?
Well, I was living in New York City. I reached a point where just things weren't working for me. Nothing seemed to be working right. So I thought, I'm done with this. I'm going to do something else, go somewhere else. So I did this for a few months and I went, no, this is not for me. I'm going back to New York City.
It made New York all of a sudden look pretty okay, right?
It called me back. It did.
Well, I think that's so fascinating. I really do. So anyways, thank you for sharing that. I had no idea. So we will come back to you later and hear and see the final video. All right. But thank you, Marty.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So now Roger is going to play 4 more tunes for us. And Roger, I'd love for you to talk about these tunes if you like and play them. So take it away, Roger.
Certainly. These are also English country dances. The first one I'm going to play is in 6/8. It's called Grace of a Lady. It's dedicated, as I put it in the dedication, to my graceful wife, Neocelia, who is the most graceful and elegant lady I know. And here it is, Grace of a Lady. Grace of a Lady. Going on. Thank you. Going on, the next tune is called New Morning. It's a lively tune in 2. New morning. And now the next tune is sort of a pair. There's a story behind this. Philippe Calens, the Belgian caller, who many of you have known or heard of, unfortunately passed away a few months ago, and at quite a young age. I knew him over the years, and he became well known in the country dance community for his wonderful dances. And recently, through the good graces of Paul Ross, who put me in touch with him again recently, Philippe had asked me to write an alternative tune for his new dance, the dance called Lennox, which he wrote recently. And so I wrote a tune called London's Joy to be a companion to the tune written in 1710 called London's Glory. And so I'm going to play that in memory of him. And here we go. I'll play through London's Joy once and through London's Glory once as well to save time. And now, London's Glory, written in 1710, anonymous composer. Thank you. I did play the last one twice because it's short, and but that was the introduction again. The reintroduction was made by Paul Ross. Time to say a word about Paul, because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have known about this show. So he suggested that I play on it, and so thank you, Paul, for getting me on here. It was an opportunity to introduce my new tunes to you all, but thank you for that, Paul. All right, so the next tune is dedicated to my mother, who, as I told you earlier, introduced me to English country dancing a long time ago. This is a hornpipe.
was so
Thank you.
beautiful, Roger. That was
Thank
so
you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
The final tune was just so touching.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How has this been for you? Because I would assume that this is sort of the debut of a lot of these tunes. How has that been for you?
Wonderful. Great. And I'm always happy to play music for everybody. And this is an opportunity to share my love for this kind of music with you all. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, it's just so great. When you
It is an
get a
opportunity.
chance, definitely check the chat, because people are just saying all sorts of wonderful things
Oh, thank you.
about the tunes as you're playing. So I just want you to know that, because
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
I will.
So is there anything else you want to tell us about these tunes?
Well, besides what I said already, I mean, there are more coming up, as you know. There, in the book as a whole it includes many regions of the British Isles, as you know. So, the titles are all about places or parts of nature, or also aspects of humanity, the spiritual aspects like compassion and kindness and other things, which I think is important to emphasize. So the titles are basically like in that sense impersonal, and the only tunes that are dedicated to particular individuals in this entire book are to my wife and to my parents. I have a tune called "To My Father" as well. The last one was called "To My Mother," and then the rest to the British Isles and my love of cultures in England, Ireland, and Scotland, and the surrounding islands.
When you were writing the tunes, did the titles just come to you as you were writing the tunes, or did you have to hunt around for the titles, or did you think of a title and then a tune would come to you?
It depends. It depended. Sometimes the tune came first, sometimes the title came first. And sometimes I changed the title in the course of writing the book, but now I've got all the right titles. But
Right.
Thanks.
But what a rewarding thing to marry those two. So anyway, thank you. We'll hear you play at the final dance, but thank you so much for sharing your beautiful art and your beautiful creations. So it's just very, very lovely. So thank you.
Thank you.
So it's time for us to see the final video to see how Marty's garlic and onion and ginger chicken turned out. So Galen, let's see the final cooking video from Marty.
And then when we serve these, we'll have side dishes, some cooked veggies, maybe some raw veggies, maybe a salad, maybe just crudité, whatever. And this being the weekend, the most important thing to do is choosing the wine to go with it. Oh dear, okay. A nice white burgundy, I think, will fill the bill. Okay, I think the chicken is done, and it's time to start the dinner with the ceremonial popping of the cork. Alrighty, we're going to the show. And Matthew at the camera here and I are about to try some wine and chicken. We'll get to the veggies later because I haven't put any out yet. Oh well. How's this look? Nice color, nice aroma. Here you go, Matthew. All right, cheers.
Cheers. To a chicken well done.
And there you go. One for you. Use the fork wouldn't hurt. We'll start with one apiece. Matthew. And one for me. Slap on some more onions. Oh. The onions, like I said, as they get start to get too done, just take them out ahead of time. At the last minute, throw them back on top of the chicken thighs so they heat up again, and then enjoy. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
And happy eating.
Thank you, Marty. That was just fantastic. I want to try this recipe. It looks wonderful. And I want to give a special thanks to Matthew Christian for filming it. So Matthew, hello. And then also to Jeff Barry, who edited this video for this program. So thank all three of you for a great job. And I know all of us have been inspired. So unfortunately, we're nearing the end of our show. It's very sad. I'd like to tell you our final look ahead. Next Thursday, there is not a CDNY lore happening, but on Thursday, May 27th, CDNY-Live will be back with Rachel Bell on the accordion and Becky Tracy on fiddle. So that is going to be a totally amazing program because they're both amazing, amazing performers. So please mark your calendar, Thursday, May 27th at 7:30. And again, the address, as always, is at cdny.org. There's a calendar on the left side, so you can always find the Zoom link. These programs are also live streamed on the Facebook page, the CDNY Facebook page, and you can see past performances, past CDNY Lives on the Facebook page where they're archived, as well as the new CDNY YouTube channel where all of the performances plus English dancing, contra dancing, special concerts, there's all sorts of playlists on the new CDNY YouTube page. So make sure you go there and check it out. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource. Again, I would like to thank our guest pianist and composer, Roger Davidson, for playing his beautiful, beautiful tunes for us. To our Messy Kitchen chef, Marty Fager, for teaching us how to make onions and chicken. To our producers, Annie Eden, Dominique Gagne, and Country Dance New York. And special thanks to our technical director, Galen Kirkpatrick, our video editor, Jeff Barry, and many, many thanks to all the sponsors and donors who helped make this possible. All right, now it's time for our final dance party. Roger is going to be playing for us original jigs and reels. And the names of them are, I'll just tell you, A Farm in Shropshire, The Backyard Reel, Three Clovers, which is a slip jig, and then he's ending with a Scottish waltz called St. Andrew's Waltz. Now, I know that you all are going to love these tunes so much, so if the tunes make you feel like dancing, please get up and dance. So, Roger, fill us with some final music.
Thank you. Before I do, I'd like to acknowledge my friend and engineer, Louis Paquet, who is sitting right here with me, who is making a better quality broadcast possible than I could have done myself by far. So he's right here, and I have to acknowledge him as well. Luis,
well, thank you, Louis.
Gracias.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Luis, thank you. Sorry.
Farm in Shropshire, a jig. backyard reel. Now I've got a slip jig, 3 clovers. Irish slip jig. Whoops, I lost the mic. Oh, not the mic. Ah, there we go. What do you call that? The buffer. Yeah. Okay. St. Andrew's Waltz is my attempt at a Scottish waltz, and here we go. There we go. Long live Scotland.
Bravo, Roger. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
That was fantastic. Wow, what a lovely way to end the evening. Thank you so much. And we all enjoyed the Scottish snap of the final happening in the St. Andrew's Waltz. So that was really, really great. So thank you. Thank you for ending the evening on such a beautiful note.